Welcome back to another Believe in Mavs. I'm Alexander Tassopoulos alongside Raymond Felton. Raymond is bouncing back from an illness. I'm excited that he's feeling better.
Me too.
Last time we talked, we were discussing, what the Mavericks needed to do before the All-Star break. Now we're after the All-Star break. They've had 2 games. They've split them, so they're 1-1. I think we said they needed to go 15-7 with the remaining 22 games that they had left on the schedule.
Right.
Not great that they already have an L in that column, but it was a crazy week in the NBA this past week. I think from a product standpoint, if you're talking about the basketball that's been played post All-Star break, and there's always the promise that guys will turn up the intensity because they have so much to play for and little time to do it post All-Star break. The quality of product has been fantastic. Damian Lillard scored 71 points last night. The Mavs, we'll get into the game obviously, but they blew a 27-point lead. The Lakers came back, all the LeBron James lovers and basketball lovers, if you're impartial, that's an incredible game and an incredible comeback.
Right.
I watched Jason Tatum hit a game-winning shot against the 76ers, and then Joel Embiid hit a 3/4 court chuck right after the buzzer. Trying to think of, there was another game that came down to, Drew Holiday had a game-winning steal on Devin Booker.
Yeah.
So
Let me see. Another one too. What was it? The Clippers last night. That was a big time game.
yeah, Jokic had a triple-double and a gritty win against the Clips.
Well, and then not to mention a few days ago, was it the Clippers and Sacramento both had like 170 something points?
Right. Second highest point total in NBA history, double OT. De'Aaron Fox ices one with about 15 seconds left, and then the Clippers missed a couple of threes to not win the game. I know that Kings fans were super excited about that one. They lit the beam, as they always do when they win. But let's talk about the Mavericks. We won on Thursday, took care of business against San Antonio. Don't need to dwell on this one too much. We know who San Antonio is. We know they're in the race for Victor Wembanyama. I thought it was nice to see our guys get a win by that much, by a massive points margin. We scored 140 points in that game. We haven't won a lot of games by that much the entire season, so it was good to see that. Yeah. That's my real takeaway there. And obviously, when Luka and Kyrie can both play well together, we are tough to stop on offense. Did you have anything else from that one that you saw?
Not really. I mean, it's just a situation where you can't really mess around with San Antonio because they have beat teams this year. You go in and take them lightly. They are a scrappy team. Obviously they're well coached. But at the same time, there's a team that if you go in there and just mess around, they will mess around and beat you, so you can't take them lightly. So just to see them go in and just take care of business and win a game that they're supposed to win, that's always a plus.
Yeah, I like Keldon Johnson a lot. I think he's a guy that he can vie for some all-star spots, in the next 3 to 5 years. But okay, let's talk about this Laker game. So we were absolutely incendiary from the 3-point line in the first quarter. I think midway through the second, the 3-point field goals made margin, we had hit 12. They had hit 1. So the Lakers weren't hitting shots. We got out to an early lead. Luka hit his first 3 threes. He had a great first quarter. He's the number 1 first quarter scorer in the NBA. We were rolling. We were absolutely rolling. We're up 27 points. And then we're going into the third quarter, and we kind of fumbled the bag a little bit midway through the second, and we ended up at halftime only up 14. So I think my first question to you is, what do we do from here? Because it's easy to point blame at a lot of different things that happened in that game. I guess what I saw on the fan chat side of things, people were not happy with Jason Kidd in this game, and specifically about his allocation of minutes for some of our players. Josh Green played 16 minutes. Christian Wood played 20. Tim Hardaway played 21 minutes. Tim had 17, Christian had 13, Josh Green had 9 points. So those guys were scoring for us.
Mm-hmm.
To you, are those guys that should be on the court in the last 8 minutes of the game for the Mavericks?
I can't say every night.
Yeah.
But, you know, their production, that particular game, then yeah. You know, yeah. But, I mean, J. Kidd is a great coach. He's a great basketball mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't go against, you know, his thought process, should I say. But at the same time, we human. So,
right.
you know, we make mistakes, and, you know, sometimes, you know, we make substitutions that, you know, sometimes kind of hurts and kind of changes over the momentum. And maybe that's just what happened. You know, he made the substitution and the momentum got changed. Then once the momentum changed, I don't care who you put in the game. You know,
right.
The momentum changes, you know, that's just part of the game. This team is going to make a run no matter who's on the court. And you just got to try to uphold it. You know, you got to take that hit and keep pushing and still try to find a way to win. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to deal with adversity. You're going to deal with, you know, coach's decision. I've been in a game where I've been hot, like I'm talking about scorching hot, and the coach still take you out of the game. You know,
right.
it's just how their system is. It's how they sub. It's how they thinking about your minutes. There's so many things that they put into perspective that a lot of people don't understand. That, you know, as a coach, you trying to save these guys' legs for that last, like you said, 7 to 8 minutes of the game in that fourth quarter. And sometimes you may not understand why they made that substitution in that situation. But I don't know, man. I mean, I can't just put it on his substitution throughout that whole game. I mean, their defense wasn't the same as it was at the start of the game.
Right.
They stopped making shots. The shot wasn't falling as good as it was. And that's what happens. Sometimes, you know, we he's so quick to blame the coach.
Right.
And it's like, you know, okay, he made that one simple mistake that you can say, okay, maybe he should have played those guys more, or maybe he should have made a substitution at this time. But what about the rest of the game?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
that?
like,
you know
like
what I'm saying? Like,
many things can be true, right? Like not just one thing leads to a loss, not just one thing leads to a victory. Obviously, when you lose a game, like that's when the finger pointing happens.
No question. I mean, when you lose a 27 point deficit like that, you know, how, you know, being a coach now is like, how can you blame me when I'm not the one running up and down the court? You know,
which is valid. It's valid.
If I'm the coach and I'm trying my best to make adjustments and change this, change that, at some point, somebody on this court got to make an effort to change the game themselves.
Yeah.
You know, who's going to be that person to change the game themselves? And sometimes it can't be Kyrie and Luka. It can't be those two guys who, you know, go out here and try to give you 30 points in a quarter or whatever, something spectacular like that. It's not going to happen. That's not going to be the game. Somebody got to go out there and get stops. Somebody got to go out there and go get more rebounds. I mean, you think about what Vanderbilt did that game. He kind of changed the game in the sense of just his intensity, grabbing rebounds. He had about 18 rebounds.
Yeah, I think he was 17 and 15. So like, and he had like 4 steals or something like that.
Right. He was efficient. He was on Luka. He was
one-on-one defending on Luka. Luka shot 2 for 7. So he did his job and then some. Yeah.
So, you know, and that's a guy who changed the game when that's a guy that's like, that's not LeBron. That's not AD. That's not your main focal guys that you look to score to get bucket, even though AD played well, even LeBron played well after his injury. You know, those guys still did their job, but that particular person, Vanderbilt, changed the game. So who's going to be that guy on the Mavs? You know, who's going to be that guy? And I think Josh Green does a great job at that sometimes, where, you know, his energy and how hard he plays, it does change the game. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, sometimes you can't look at, well, why he didn't play them that much. Maybe he wasn't giving the energy that Josh that usually gives.
Yeah.
So,
I
I mean, it's so many
I
ways you can
think he
look at
was.
it.
I mean, I know. Look, the
No,
way
he was
that I
playing
see
hard.
it,
No, he was playing hard. No,
he
don't get me
always
wrong.
plays hard.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
thing
just who
about
he
him.
is. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's who he is. You know what I'm saying? That's like Dwight Powell. He's gonna run through the floor for you.
right.
That's who he is.
Unfortunately, I think we're at the place where, and we talked about Reggie last episode. I love Reggie. He's hit a lot of clutch shots for us this past year when Jason Kidd, our head coach last year, took us to the Western Conference Finals. So let's remember that. But I do think that Reggie at this point, in my mind, there's not many facets of the game that I think he is better than Josh Green at this point. And I think Josh Green, what he does with playing with pace, pushing the tempo, offensive rebounding, where he gets in there and he's got a younger body. He hasn't had very many injuries he's had to deal with. So he can be a little bit more reckless when he's, staying in the paint and trying to tip balls out. There was one possession, I think it was either the late first quarter, second quarter, where he drove, tried to put up a layup, but then midair, twisted his body, contorted it, kicked it out for a wing three, shot, missed it. He went up and grabbed the offensive rebound, kicked it back out. And it was just that's Josh Green, in a nutshell, that athleticism. And he was shooting pretty well. I think he had 2 spot up threes in that game. So I guess he had 3, actually. He had 9 points. He feels like a guy that has to be in our closing 5 to me.
Yeah. And I agree.
I
agree. I mean, because you got to think about it. Who else you going to put out there outside of Reggie?
That's what I'm saying. He's going to have to swap with Reggie. Yeah. Justin Holiday was out there. He played 30 plus minutes. I scratched my head a little bit at a guy who just jumped on the team having to play 30 plus minutes, but at his size, and we still didn't have Maxey in this game. We needed some of that size and length out there. So I get that. But Reg is pretty much the same height as Josh Green, maybe a little taller. So that's my only kind of criticism. I mean, I am baffled candidly about just the relationship between Wood and Kidd, just from a minute standpoint, because I felt like he was quite productive offensively. Tim's a guy where he's a flamethrower, right? He was going this game, so it would have been nice to have him out there, and he could play defense too. But if you've got Kyrie out there, if you've got Luka out there, got Reggie out there, I mean, Tim's about 6'5". I understand when they have Davis and Vanderbilt and LeBron, it's tough. And this is a team that when we don't have Maxey, we do not match up well with them. Which hopefully we wouldn't have to see them in the playoffs. They've still got to win a lot of games. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people were throwing around the J Kidd quote post game. He said, this is just a small bite of it, but he said, "I'm not the savior here. I'm not playing. I'm watching. Just like you guys as a team, we've got to mature. We've got to grow up." And I think Luka said, yeah, that's probably true. That was his response to J Kidd's quote. I don't mind any of that. And what you said, as a coach, you are watching, right? That. And you only know what's going on the court as much as you can see. I think I'm interested to know, when you coach, do you empower some of your players to not only lead on the court, communicate with each other, but also talk to you so that you have a feel of what's going on through their eyes?
Yeah. Well, I try to let my point guard be that guy. You know what I'm saying? I try to let him be that guy, that person that kind of takes over, or whoever. It don't even have to be the point guard. I would like for it to be my point guard, but at the same time, if it's not, somebody to kind of take over sometimes where I don't have to say nothing.
Yeah.
If y'all not out there getting it done, y'all not playing the way y'all know the way we play basketball, just playing hard, playing with that grit. This is me as a coach. I'm not talking about the Mavs here. I need somebody else to step up and not necessarily yell, because we all know that, most peers of the same age don't like each other yelling at each other.
Right.
But it's a mutual respect of how you talking. It's like a motivational thing. Sometimes it don't have to always come from the coach. It can come from somebody that you working with every day. Y'all in practice together. Y'all in the weight room together. Y'all together enough y'all go to dinner together. You know,
Yeah.
y'all might, you know, go to each other's house and hang out with y'all families. Like whatever it is, y'all should have that type of relationship to have that guy that y'all look up to, that guy that y'all respect, to like get on y'all. Like
Yeah.
Luka and Kyrie should be able to come in the locker room and say, "Look, man, hey, we was up 25 points. We should have took that to 35. Now, now we only up 14 points. And what the hell are we doing? Like, let's get this shit together. Let's get this thing back on track in this third quarter. Like, we need to come out this first 5 minutes. We need to punch them back in their face again. Like, we need to get this thing going. Like that type of stuff. Instead of everybody coming in mad or, you know, trying to blame somebody. Like, nah, let's figure it out together.
Yeah,
You know
I think. Yeah, I think like, yeah, the one like issue I have with the kid quote, and it's, I feel like in relation to what you're talking about how you communicate with your point guard and like how you want them to lead, is it would have been nice for him to just like the accountability aspect of it, like just say like, you know, there's things I could have done as well. Just like Luka saying like, it was my bad. I didn't realize I could go back court, because he had that little exchange with Kyrie where Kyrie was like, you can go back court.
Yeah.
And Luka just in the moment, like didn't know. I can't remember.
He forgot.
I think I forget like the Euro rules. Are they different in that regard about going back court?
They're different in so many ways. I don't know. There might be a thing where they can't go back court in that situation.
Yeah. I don't necessarily remember, but I think what you're talking about with like, I imagine you want the point to do it because you were a point guard, right? Like,
well, I mean, I was just always that guy that I spoke up.
Right.
You know,
well, traditionally it's been the point guard. I feel like that's how I was taught growing up, and like I was a PG as well, and I was like,
well, I mean, because you know, you like the quarterback on the like a quarterback on the field. You're like, you know what I'm saying? Like you the guy who's running the plays, telling guys where they need to be, the guys out of play. So, you know, you doing most of the talking when you're in practice, when you're running plays, when you're doing stuff anyway. So everybody's hearing your voice. So then that's when you go in a situation where you go in the locker room in that situation, and Luka gotta just like rip ass, like fuck it, like you know, why I gotta be the coach? Like go in there, rip ass. Kyrie, go in there, rip somebody ass. Like, you know, it ain't gotta be. Excuse me. It don't even gotta be a particular person. It's us as a team. Like I'm included, guys. Like we need to.
Well, that's what I mean. The accountability factor. It's like it's a lot easier for you to tell your other guys to do certain things when you're saying, I didn't do that. That's my bad. Right. When they recognize, at least, you know, when I played with guys in past, like no one ever wanted to hear like, hey, you didn't do that right. You didn't do that right. And like, we could be winning if you had done that. It's more like even if it's just a trick where you're saying like, hey, that was my bad on this play or that play or whatever. Well, even if it's taking a bullet here and there, like
he has to.
Yeah.
I mean, with what comes with being that type of person, being an all-star, being a franchise player, being a high-level player that he is, what comes with that is accountability. Like you said, like that's what comes with that. So sometimes you have to take it on the chin, even if it ain't your fault.
Right.
Sometimes you got to take it. Like that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody want to point the finger at Jay Kidd because nobody wants to point the finger at Luka. And I'm not saying it's Luka's fault because it's not. But at the same time, okay, it's this me. That's our fault today. You know, if he came in the press conference and said, like, look, this ain't Coach Jay Kidd's fault. This ain't the team fault. This is my fault. I'm gonna take this on the chin. This is me. I gotta make us better. I gotta be better. We're gonna be better next game. It could be just that simple, and that would shut everything up.
Yeah. The only thing they would be saying is like they're not like something else is happening. They won't tell us, but it's like, okay, it's all speculation. You don't really know.
Yeah, it's always going to be something else. Somebody's going to say it's something else. Right. But at the same time, by him saying that, his teammates are going to read that. You know, Jay Kidd is going to read that. Their relationship is going to be stronger. He's going to because it nobody wants to feel like it's always their fault, even a coach. You know, nobody wants to take that heat every game.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, as a head coach, that comes with that responsibility. But also as a franchise player, you know, that comes with that responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you got to take that on the chin. And I played on teams with Carmelo Anthony, Dirk Nowitzki, played with Dirk. I played on a team with Russ in OKC, along with PG. You know what I'm saying? I play with guys like, you know, got to take that on the chin. Yeah. You know, I played with the Clippers with CP, Blake Griffin, all those guys, all of us together. Like, things get heated, when things go wrong, who gonna take it on the chin?
Yeah.
Somebody got to take it, and that's just what it is. And it may not be your fault. You might come out and have 35 points, have a great game, but
Right.
we lost. So
Right.
still got to take that on the chin. You like, man, I did my job, but you can't handle it like that. Not if
Yeah.
you're a true leader. If you're a true leader, you can't look at it like that.
Any of those guys, like Russ he got bought out, right? And then he ends up on the Clippers. And a lot of people are saying, it's not a good fit. Like, why'd the Clippers make this move? And then, they lose that game against the Kings, but he was instrumental in
both games.
Both games. His motor is second to none. I'm talking about Josh Green. Like, Josh Green's got a great motor, and that's kind of what makes him different. Russ obviously has one of the best motors we've ever seen. The guy gets up and down the court. He's so fast, just straight line speed. And he's always going, he's always attacking, he's always keeping defenses on their heels. I actually think that's really, really valuable for this Clippers team. And they're dangerous.
They're very dangerous. And what kills me about what people are saying about Russ is if we go back 4 years ago, y'all was loving him. Like, oh my God, he's such a great point guard. He's just, look at the triple doubles. And it's like now, just because what happens is when you get traded to a different team, from a team where you get to do whatever you want, you had all the freedom in the world. You not grew up there, but you grown there as a player, as a pro, saying from being a rookie. And, you just comfortable. You in your comfort zone. Like OKC was his comfort zone.
Yeah.
So, now he going somewhere else where he got to play with somebody else. This is somebody else's team. So now it's like, now you got egos that come in the situation because it's like, oh my goodness, this is my team. I'm the franchise player, but Russell Westbrook might be bigger than me,
Yeah.
So
not only egos, but how about routine too, right? Because like you say, he's in OKC, like they are telling him you are the guy. They want him when we're talking about these moments in, at halftime or at the end of the game, when things don't go your way, like he already knows that's his responsibility to talk to his guys in that type of way. And then he ends up in Washington, and Bradley Beal's a pretty good player, man. Like, he's might be one of the best Washington Wizards of all time. Like he will be. So I can imagine how much Russ had to adapt and change in those moments while still being himself, while still being one of those guys
who he is what we talking about. He's a vocal, I'm gonna get in your ass type of guy. But everybody took that though. Everybody understood who he was and what he brought on the court. Like I've seen him rip Steven Adams, just rip him.
Yeah.
But Steven Adams didn't take it personal. Because he knew who Russ was. He knew that wasn't.
He doesn't seem like a guy who takes anything personal. But
he don't. He doesn't. But at the same time, everybody knows Steven Adams ain't nobody to play with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, who gives a fuck? I'm getting in your ass, Steve-O. You need to play harder. You need to whatever. You know what I'm saying? But Steven didn't take that personal, and I feel like maybe who he is, and he tried to go to do that. He tried to do that in Houston. Or if he tried to do that with the Wizards, or if he tried to do that with the Lakers, now all of a sudden, Russ is a problem. Russ is this, Russ is that. And it's like, come on, man, that's bullshit. I'm gonna just be straight up. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think I think them people over there in the Lakers, they fucked up for that. And I don't give a damn if it get back to them.
I do think
up for that.
It's all some of it's time and place, read the room a little bit. I can imagine that Lakers team. Now it looks completely different. Like what Pelinka did to this team at the trade deadline, they have 10 legit guys who can be out on the court in the fourth quarter. I'm not going to list them all out, but you go look at their roster and you know what I'm talking about. When Russ was there and it was just Russ, AD, LeBron. Yeah, they had Lonnie who's still there. They had Austin Reeves who's still there, who both played in that Mavs game yesterday. But both of those guys I consider in their top 10 players, rotation guys. But that was pretty much it. They didn't have much else there. And so sometimes if your team is, if your team's 10-20 and there's that guy in the locker room, at a certain point, the results also speak too. And you can feel a little helpless, I imagine. If you're another guy in that locker room who's Russ, like, I get it, man, but like, we're trying and like, it's just not happening. But
yeah, that's true. But
this Clippers team is a team that he immediately, I think his voice comes into. They've got Kawhi, who we know is more of the like silent superstar. PG, who, you said you've played with PG. Russ and PG have also played together. That was PG's best season as an individual when he played with Russ. He was top 5 in MVP at OKC. Coming back from an injury, I mean, unbelievable. But I think it's a really good fit. And obviously he's still in LA, which is, right down the street from where he grew up. So I like it a lot. Yeah.
I listen. I do too. And just knowing the guy personally, he just, I don't know. It's been bad to see, been bad to look at, hear just people talking about him, the way they talking about him, just like he's such this just negative person in the locker room, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, it's not even close.
Right.
Like, it's not even close with the type of person he is. Like, it's not even close. Like, you look at him, he played with attitude, he played with emotions, but who he is out the court is something totally different. Like, who he was when he first got introduced to the Clippers and he walked on that court, you see how he was smiling and, being goofy and being him. That's Russ.
Yeah.
Like, that's who Russ is. You didn't see that when he was with the Lakers because he was probably never happy. He probably never felt like nobody had his back. And looking at it from afar and just knowing, like, no, nobody did. And it's mind-boggling because, like, I would go to war with a guy like that. Not granted, everybody know Russ in certain situations. He makes some crazy turnovers, or he might come down, take a crazy shot. But I mean, stuff like that you gotta live with, and you just gotta be able to pull him to the side and talk to him. Saying as teammates and have that mutual respect of, hey man, hey, game on the line, like just we ain't telling you not to take a shot. We're just telling you to be mindful of when you take it or how you take it. Like, just, be you.
Right.
Because who he is, that motor is something totally different that you've never seen before. So you can't take who he is away from him.
Ultimately, like,
do a lot of great stuff. So
ultimately in a playoff matchup, whoever they're playing, that is absolutely something to deal with.
Man.
Like, you're not scheming your whole defense against it, but guess what? If he's running that second unit for the Clippers, and whoever they're playing is playing their second unit, like, they have absolutely talked before the games about what they need to do to limit Russell, to limit fast break points and easy opportunities for the Clippers, because he can do that. Okay, going back to the Lakers Mavs real quick. Just, we're talking about intensity. We talked about Josh Green a lot. There's a little tiff that Josh Green got into with Austin Reeves. Did you see that on the sideline?
Yeah.
I mean, like, Josh Green's from Australia. We're talking about Steven Adams, right? He's a New Zealander. He's New Zealand. Yeah. I wouldn't ever want to fight those guys. I don't know. There's just something different about those guys that, like, I feel like if Austin Reeves, because the Mavs and the Lakers play one more time, I don't think Austin Reeves, like, post game was like saying anything that bad. I mean, they just got into it. They're John, whatever. But I'm picking Josh Green in that fight. I mean, Jake Paul and Tommy Fury fought yesterday. I don't know if you saw that happened, but
yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah. Jake Paul lost, and he was eating some humble pie, which I thought was a complete 180 from what he normally is when he's talking to the media. But yeah, my money's on Josh Green in that if they scuffle again.
That's funny.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other takeaways? We actually, we have the easiest schedule remaining, but we have a tough stretch here. So I think we play the Grizzlies a couple times. Talking about the Clippers, I forget that the Grizzlies got Luke Kennard. Like, that was a nice pickup for them. Add a really good shooter. Let me see who else we've got on the schedule, but I think, the Mavs they got to really figure out who they are in these last 20 games.
They really do.
The 76ers, they got the Suns. Just talking about the next 10, and then the Lakers again on the 17th. I'm going to try and go to that game. It's in LA. So, yeah, I mean, any closing thoughts for all the fans out there?
Nah, man, hey, listen, stick with the process, man. Stick with the process. I think you know, as a coach, when you add another caliber superstar like that to your team, you know, you still need time to kind of figure out what's best and how to play these guys, who to play them with. You know, when one is not on the court, you kind of need the other, like how to figure out how to get them their rest, but at the same time, you really can't have both of them sit down. Like just looking at this team, like you can't have both Luka and Kyrie on the bench at the same time. It's just, unless you're just blowing the team out, you know, that's really it. But other than that, like one got to sit down, one got to stay in, and then vice versa, come back, take that one out, put him in. Like you just gotta. That's how you gotta rock for the rest of the season. That's how I would do it. Like, just trying to figure that out, and I think everybody else we can figure that out, how to get them more minutes depending on their production. You know, Josh Green is playing great. Put him out there. You know, you can't. It ain't gonna be no different than what you're getting right now. So, you know, if you need to play him more and play Reggie less, then do that. If you need to play Christian Wood more and whatever, then play him more. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. You know, hopefully it'll make things better.
Yeah, just the last thing on that, like when I think about, and obviously we're missing Maxey so much in this game. He's our best big man defender, no question. Switchability, mobility, weak side rim protection, like he just is. And he's coming back from an injury, so he's got to work himself back into shape, obviously. But when I think about Luka, Kyrie, Josh Green, Christian Wood, and you know, if it's Maxey when he's healthy, if it's Justin Holiday, whoever in that fifth spot, Tim, if you want to kind of go small with Seawood out there, offensively, Luka, Kai, and Christian Wood all on the floor together, that presents so many problems for a defense. I mean, Christian Wood, again, he only played 20 minutes last night, but there were moments where he was attacking Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis, who is a defensive player of the year caliber type player on that side of the court, was having trouble with him. Like, and he's shooting the ball so well off the catch.
I like Christian.
I'm just saying, like all three, it's not even like, hey, we have to do it. It's more so just a recognizing that it's really, really tough to deal with from a defensive standpoint when all three of those guys are on the court. And then you add Josh Green, who's just shooting 40% plus from on catch and shoot threes and just from the 3-point line in general. Like that's tough to deal with.
Hey, listen, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. So
yeah, there was a major complaint that the officiating was swung, as it always is, in the Lakers' favor, just from looking at the free throw line. Fans like to do that after the game. They look at the box score. We shoot a ton of threes. And the one thing that is a disadvantage to us is when we're hitting, we're not necessarily going to the paint as much. We're not necessarily putting pressure on the defense around the cup. Luka shoots a lot of free throws always. But I think we just, I'm sure that the team will get the reminder like, hey, the shot it stops falling. Get to the paint, get to the bucket, and get to the free throw line. Because we the more opportunities you give yourself there, clock stops, guys get a break, and more chances to put points up and easily put points on the board. Okay, last thing I'll say, and then we'll jet out of here. Our next game's against the Pacers. This is a huge game for J Kidd. Just if we don't win this game, God, the fans are going to go crazy with it.
Well, they play them here though, right?
Yeah. It's at home. But just the fact that Rick's their coach is just, people are going to, if they beat us on our home court, and we should beat them because we're a better team than them.
Yeah, they got a solid team though.
They do.
Solid team. They still playing for something.
Right.
It's not like it's one of those teams on the East Coast where they ain't got no chance to play in a game or playing. They actually are there. So, they're gonna be bringing it, and they're healthy now. They're healthy now too. They wasn't healthy going into the playoffs going into the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Halliburton came back towards the end a little bit, but they've been kind of banged up, but they kind of healthy now, so it'll be interesting.
Miles Turner coming home. He's always going to show up when he's coming home to Dallas. Ben Mathurin at the beginning of the game. Yeah. Ben Mathurin at the beginning of the season said he's better than LeBron. So that guy's trying to prove something every single night.
Yeah, he plays with attitude. I like it.
Me too. All right. We'll check in next week, but Mavs, let's go. Let's start a winning streak here. Raymond and I are rooting for you always. All right.
For sure.
Take it easy, everybody.